Welcome back to Safa's Unscripted, episode 147. Now, we thought we would do this video and talk about the South African Springbok selection, but it hasn't been announced yet. So we'll actually do our Friday video on a Wednesday and then talk. Yes, Brett, it is election day in America. Too bad we don't care. That's nothing to do with us.
Oh,
Brett, are you a Trump supporter or not?
I am a Trump supporter, and I need him to win so my investments and those things can do well.
The stock market relies massively on it. Like myself, I'm a trader as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Need Trump to win.
Anyway, let's get into it, right? As I just mentioned, we would have talked about the Springbok squad. It hasn't been announced, so we're just going to do our predictions. I will post the SUPERBRU link in the description. People join it. I know we didn't do it last weekend. Sorry, my bad. There was only one.
I didn't know it existed. I'm sorry.
Hey?
I didn't know it
games,
I didn't know it existed. I didn't even realize we had a pool.
Well, it's okay. Brevin doesn't even do his selection, so it doesn't matter if he just misses one week
No,
extra.
I actually wanted to, but then, unfortunately, I didn't realize I wasn't even in the pool, and that's why I didn't make it. So,
it's because Brett caught us off guard by sending it through email. And I don't have notifications on for my emails. So, one of those things.
Doesn't do that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Emails?
Okay.
No.
Brevin, sorry. Guys, I've been talking over you guys. How are you doing, Brevin? Are you coping with your exams? Brevin will only be here for about 20 minutes. So,
Yeah. Well, I have like a big POE. Anyone that doesn't know what that means, portfolio of evidence due tomorrow. But otherwise, it's all good. It's all great, and I just want to talk rugby. So can we start doing that? Because I'm keen.
Okay, fine. Brevin doesn't care how it goes with you, Brett. He just wants to talk some rugby.
Well, Brett spoke about Trump, so I mean, he let out his feelings.
Okay.
For the day.
Okay. Brett, we'll come to you first. Massive game, Friday night special. This weekend is a glorious weekend of rugby. Oh my goodness. We're starting off with a big one. We've got Ireland versus New Zealand. What's your thoughts heading into that one? Because obviously it feels like a bit extra. There's a bit of feel, a bit of hype around this one with the World Cup, with the Johnny Sexton story. What's your first thoughts going into this one, Brett?
Before I give my 2 cents on this game, what is the point of this video? Because what are we going to talk about on Friday? Because on Friday's video is what we normally do now. So am I going to give my prediction or just my general feel on the game?
Give your prediction and everything. I said we'll talk about the Springboks game almost purely on Friday and the squad.
Sounds good. Okay, so I do feel that...
That just tells you how unscripted we are. Brett asked that 4 minutes into the episode.
Okay.
Okay, so for me, I think that if New Zealand can somehow play 10% better than they did against England, then we might have a good game between the Irish and the All Blacks. However, I think that there's almost no pressure on Ireland. It's not a semi-final or a quarter-final of a World Cup, so there's literally nothing for them to lose. So they're going to be good. It's going to be tightly contested for a while, and I think the Irish they're going to be too strong for the All Blacks at home. But what we've learned over the last 20 years of watching the All Blacks, even at their worst, you can never write them off. Never, ever. But it is in Ireland, so I think the Irish just might take this one.
Bravo.
So I know I'm about to get ridiculed by some All Black fans, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all, because obviously I respect the All Blacks a lot. But like you said, there's no pressure in this game. That's the first thing, and I just think Ireland flourish under that. And that's no disrespect, but they're a very good side when the pressure is not on. And we then move to the fact that it is in Ireland. We know that their support is next level. We know that the whole country will be behind them. It's like we can't fault them for their passion for their team. And with that being said, like you said, you can never underestimate the All Blacks, and I don't think the Irish will be. Obviously, there's a lot of emotions going into this game with the Sexton and Rico Ioane situation, whatever. But I truly think if the All Blacks play like they did against England, I don't think Ireland will let them off that easy. And I just personally think, and I can't go back on my word, but I genuinely think Irish win by about 12 plus. Like, it's a I do think they beat them fairly easily.
Brevin, I couldn't disagree more. I think there is a lot of pressure on both teams, not just Ireland, not just the All Blacks, right? I think there's so much bragging rights on the line here at the moment. You look at that World Cup victory, people will be talking about that. You look at the hype around the Irish beating the All Blacks in New Zealand. You look at the Johnny Sexton thing. The All Blacks know they have a lot to play for. There's a lot of pride on the line here. People are writing off this All Blacks team. They are overlooking the All Blacks team. Ireland knows, well, we might be number one in the world, but we still had that quarterfinal thing. We can right the wrongs of them, right? But if they lose it again, they've got no feet. They've got nothing to stand on. It's just like, well, okay, we didn't deserve anything, right? So all of a sudden, that little caveat goes off their shoulder, and it's like, okay, well, we're just nothing again. We just once again the quarterfinal once. It wasn't just a slip up. So I think there's a lot of pressure on both teams. Like, imagine Ireland beating New Zealand that series, right? But then getting the home game against New Zealand and then losing it at home as well. So now it's like, okay, well, we beat you at your home, but we just lost at our home. So we're not really that much better than you or anything like that. I think there's a crazy amount of pressure, and the fact that there's a rivalry now as well between it. There's no way you're telling me there's no pressure and they flourish under it.
There's no
pressure, and Ireland cracks under that, and New Zealand take the victory.
So just to add to that, right, and Joe Marler obviously came out and said something disrespectful about the haka, right? Would that not have been enough to get New Zealand to perform a lot better than what they did against England? Like, if someone's disrespecting my culture, per se, that would rile me up more than some stupid Johnny Sexton thing. So, I don't know. I'm not trying to disrespect the All Blacks. What I'm trying to say is there's something lacking in the All Blacks at the moment. That killer instinct, it's not there. That is why I worry for them. Because on paper, they have a great side with great players, but there's just something missing there. I don't know. There's a lack of killer something in that team, and that's what worries me.
It's called the coach, yeah.
But I get you.
Can I just add to that what's concerning for me about the Irish, and I don't care what people say about this, but the Irish for me is the only team in let's say the top 8 teams that does not have a world-class fly half. They don't have that. Like, look at Scotland. They have 2 at the moment. That's properly world-class. The Springboks have 2 that is world-class. The All Blacks have 2 that is world-class. The Irish don't. Like, what do they have at 10? Who's going to run that game for them? Jamison Gibson Park.
Possibly because he's class. I do rate Crowley. I'm not going to go back on my word. I think Crowley's better than Johnny Sexton. I think Frawley is better than Crowley at the moment on current form. Thing is, Crowley's not on form. He's on terrible form at the moment. So they have this thing. Who's gonna play 10, right? Because Frawley usually comes off the bench. He'll be that utility back. I don't know. I feel like New Zealand will be up for it. I know, Brevin, you just mentioned like they should have been up for it more against England, possibly. But I think they'll be ready for this Ireland one. I think they've been licking their lips to get this one again. But it's going to be an exciting matchup. I mean, if you had to do a combined 15 and you just look at the matchup, the names going up against each other, that is saucy. Yeah. It is elite.
Where I do agree a little bit on the why they would be up for it is because they've had their game in the Northern Hemisphere now at very similar conditions to what they are going to have on Friday night. So I feel like they'll be a bit more climatized to whereas if they had played the Irish first, they probably would have lost that game. But I feel like now that they got the match behind the back now, which Ireland won't have because Ireland haven't played since June. I think that makes the game a bit closer for me.
Yeah. Either way, I've got it about in the last 10 minutes, it will be a 5-point game. Either way, maybe it ends like Brevon with 12 points, but it's because they were 5 points in the lead and then they score a try at the end to solidify the victory. But I'm so excited for this game. I mean, if you had to do a combined 15 between the two teams, you probably do 15 All Blacks, even though most of them play for Ireland. So I mean, it is a great battle. I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, do we have anything to add to? Do we have anything to add to that one, or are we ready to move on?
That was good.
Okay, let me just get the next game. Which one do we want to talk about next? There's a couple of games that I'm really excited for. Let's go on to our game.
Canada.
No. We'll skip to Sunday. We'll skip to Sunday. Let's talk about our game before Brevon has to leave. Are we in the slightest nervous for this game, Brevon?
No.
They're going to say we are cocky. We are seeming very cocky on the podcast at the moment.
Look here. This is a Scottish bagpipe. Why? Because I've got family in Scotland. I love the country. It literally is my second team in rugby. It always will be. It's always in my heart, right? But unfortunately, and it's no disrespect, it's a small country. I've been there before. They don't have many setups there. They don't have many pro setups. And they do well for such a small country. But genuinely, they just do not have the depth or anything of the physicality, the creativity. We beat them in all facets of the game, and that is why I'm not nervous, So, no disrespect, seriously, but I just think we are so much better.
It's not meant as in a cocky way. I just don't see where they get any advantage in this game. I thought, the first half of the World Cup was close. Possibly, but we still dominated that first half. We just didn't get the points. We weren't clinical enough, right? But then, they stayed in the game, but then they just got fumbled. Oh, they just got crumbled in the second half. Like they absolutely got taken to the cleaners. We just ran them left to right. They were never in that game. Never in that game. Yeah, the scoreline probably after the first half, but then it's like, okay, well, we just bring on the bench and we'll just smoke you there. So they'll maybe come out flying for the first 15, 20 minutes. I can see the scoreline maybe being like 14-10 for us after the first half, and then ending like 31-10 after the second half. That's my prediction. Like I just don't see where they get any upper hand in this game.
I'm with you. Maybe a little bit less, like points wise, but I'm with you 100%.
Yeah,
why?
They literally there's half their team are people that left this country because they couldn't make it. And
exactly.
Now they have to go and play against the people that kept him out of the team. So it's pretty much like a first team playing against a second team. And a guy like Darcy Graham that scored 4 tries against a very mediocre Fijian side, he's not going to do the same. Kurtley Arendse won't let him through. Cheslin Colby won't let him through. Fussy might let him through, but...
No fussy slander today, Brett. The team hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's pretty set in stone. And I think they're going to make a mistake by starting Russell over Hastings.
Not only just because Hastings better, but like this guy just came from the Prem. He hasn't even trained with them. It's the same with King Horn, right? Like King Horn's a great player. I do rate King Horn. But in the end, this guy, you're going to throw him in to train with them for literally a couple of days and then go and take on the Springboks. That is that's silly season. That is just looking for absolute trouble. There's no cohesiveness there. And I truly, if Finn Russell plays, he's getting smoked. That rush defense, I don't even think that Scotland's attack looked that great. They just got it to Darcy Graham, who broke 1 million tackles, and then they scored. Nice. Okay, they did it behind the back pass, but that's basically it. They didn't do anything.
But that was a very underwhelming performance from the Scots. It wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't like they scored creative tries and overpowered them in mauls. It was all broken play, nonsense, backyard rugby. because Fiji didn't know how to set up on a defensive line. Fiji didn't know how to tackle from inside to out. It was just like, if the Scots are taking anything from the Fijian game, then they don't understand rugby, because that really was an underwhelming performance from both sides.
Well, Brevan, were you impressed by the Scottish defence even? Like, if we get our attack going, it's way more dangerous than that Fijian defence. And when Fiji scored the one try, they just let them in, scoring for fun. After that, to let that Fiji team score the amount of points that they did, and the way that they scored it, if you have that lapse of concentration against the Boks, you will get punished, and there's no coming back. We're not conceding 28 points in a row to let you back into this game.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I didn't get to watch like the game as a whole, but yeah, like you said, just because that Fiji team was under strength, like they had a lot of quality missing as well, so that you need to also take into consideration. But yeah, I think just other than the fact that like the Scots are only doing what they can, like I said, we are just better. Like there's no way to beat around the bush or like try and make it sound nice. It's just physically we will dominate. I do think we have probably the fitter bunch of players. I do think we have the more skillful players, and yeah, the list goes on. So like,
in the end,
it's going to be on passion for the Scots to keep it close. That's what it will be on.
Yeah, very well said. And in the end, right, if things don't go our way, we'll probably just go kick game and physically try and bully them, which I can't see them stopping. Line up more.
Yeah, I feel like the South African side that played in that second test against Australia, or the South African side that played the first test in Argentina, that side will beat Scotland at full strength.
Possibly. I think that the play styles match beautifully. If you want to take that team that just runs crazy, yeah, that should do the job, because they're not playing in 38 degrees weather where they just like choked on their own sweat. Anyway, so did we do have official score prediction for Ireland, New Zealand?
No.
Yes.
Oh, we didn't give like our actual score, but we gave margins.
Yeah, same thing.
Okay, same thing.
Okay. Let's give our official score prediction for the Springbok game. I'm going Boks by 22 points.
Yeah, I was gonna say 17, but I like the way you're thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Three converted tries.
Yeah, I was Boks by 18. Yeah.
Boks by 18. Oh, we're feeling pretty confident. Listen, the people will come at us if we lose this one.
They must, because then it's deserved.
Yeah.
Because we shouldn't be losing.
If you're world champions, right, we can be cocky when we're playing against Scotland. Like, seriously. Come on. Anyway, let's move back to Saturday, because there's actually two more juicy games that I want to talk about, but let's go to this one. England, Australia. You know what I'm smelling? I'm smelling upset. And I can smell it coming from a long way. I feel Australia's got it. Does anyone share that testament or sentiment?
I do, and I don't think it's going to be an upset. I think this is going to be Joe Schmidt. No, this is going to be Joe Schmidt. Well, this is going to be the game that solidifies Joe Schmidt as the Wallaby coach until the next World Cup. So there were obviously glimpses in the Rugby Championship where I thought if they played this 15 minutes of this game with that 15 minutes of that game and that 20 minutes of that game, they'd be unstoppable. Like, there were glimpses of brilliance in that side. And then if they can like eliminate the especially the last 20 minutes where they just forget to play rugby, then it's going to be a whole different ballgame. And I agree with you. I'm only going Australia by 2, but I'm still going Australia to win that game.
Brevan, you look like you were offended by what we just said.
Not offended. I'm not convinced by Australia. I'm just not. I mean, obviously, everyone has their own views on, the certain. I just think it's a broken system at the end of the day. And I just think, obviously, New Zealand didn't play too great, but at the same time, that's New Zealand. It's always a mentally challenging game. And the English managed, yes, they bottled it in the last 10 minutes or so, but they still managed to stay within, or they should have probably won that game. I just think England will be tactically better than Australia. I feel like the tactics from Australia is not showing yet. Yeah, I can't see England losing. I don't know how else to put it. I just think England by 10. I can't see it going any other way.
The issue
I
is
don't know what else.
England don't beat anyone at the moment. Like seriously, I don't know how Steve Borthwick is still secure in his job.
Yeah,
I don't think
what
he's
I will say is, I don't know if you saw their team.
I did.
So
They
obviously,
just announced it.
Ben Curry had a great game off the bench, and they've just binned him off and taken him out the squad. And then Ollie Lawrence
or ring replacement.
And then Ollie Lawrence and Henry Slade, yo. Henry Slade and Ollie Lawrence just swapped positions. That from
Did
12, yes. They literally just went from 13 to 12, and the other one went 12 to 13.
I didn't even see that.
Yep.
Guys, I have a question.
No. Look, Ollie Lawrence and Henry Slade still... Okay, well, you can't see it, but Ollie Lawrence is still 12, Henry Slade is still 13.
Not according to the English one. That's on Rugby
I'm
Pass.
looking at the Rugby Pass one.
Yes, Brent, what's your question?
I think maybe because on the English one, they got it wrong by saying 15 to 9.
They did that again, yes.
Oh, my word, they have done it. You're correct.
I
Henry
told
Slade's
you.
that... No, but they won't do that in the game. But at the bottom, they're doing the tag thing as well, and they tagged Henry Slade at the 12 position. Okay.
Yeah. Listen, I want to know, this is for English fans, if there's any English fans on this thing, why, whenever another team knocks on, do you guys celebrate like you won the World Cup? Or if a forward pass happens, or if a scrum falls and you get the ball back or something, and you cheer and scream and go crazy like you just won something. Like, that actually made me want to put off the TV when I watched the All Blacks game versus England, because somebody would knock on, or somebody would just make a good tackle and they'd pick up the guy.
That's mostly Ben Earl as well.
Ben Earl's a passionate man.
Bro, he's
But even
crazy.
Ben Curry, when he stole that ball, which he shouldn't have been allowed to, because his one hand was on the grass and he
tickled the ball
with
with the other.
Yeah.
It was crazy, man.
Then he get the penalty, and then he cheered as if he just scored the World Cup winning try.
I will never forget it, right? This is just to add on to yours, Brett. When they played right before we played Wales at Twickenham, they played Japan in Japan. And I will never forget it, right? They had like a random scrum, and it was the most technical free kick that they got. And you just heard Ben Earl screaming from the top of his lungs. Like, I was like, it's the most technical thing in the world. They didn't even engage. But this guy was celebrating it. And that's just like, as soon as that happens, I'm just like, where's your focus, really? Like, what is going on? How can you celebrate something like that? But then it's like, okay, well, you celebrate the small wins in life. You do you. You do you. But anyway, let's focus or continue talking about the Australian game. I don't think, if you look at it, they've lost to France, lost to South Africa, lost to New Zealand 3 times. It's the same French team that people said were one of the worst without Dupont and Intermark and all their injuries. Lost to them. Lost 3 times to an All Black team that people are saying does not look good at the moment. Okay, they beat Ireland with a drop goal at the end, right? They lost to Scotland once again. Scraped over the line against one of the worst Welsh teams ever. This guy's not a good coach. Borthwick does not have this in the bag, and I think now that Australia's had some more time, I'm not one of those guys that say Swali is going to change everything. But if they can put up a solid performance, 80-minute performance once, and they have Rob Valentini, they have Fraser McWright, they have Angus Bell, they have Tate McDermott, they have Andrew Kellaway and Tom Wright, they are going to cook, and they are going to sneak over the line by about 4 points, in my opinion. I just don't think the English defense is great either. Without Felix Jones actually there, their defense didn't look great, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I
Time
agree.
will tell.
Raven doesn't want to say anything, so I'll say something. I agree. I feel like, yeah, what I said because I think that if Australia, guys, just think about this. Joe Schmidt is a very good coach. He's probably one of the most underrated coaches. He doesn't shout at media. He doesn't go crazy. He's there to do his job, and I feel like it's going to come off for him, and he's going to show why they spent so much money on him.
Yeah.
I hope
Raven,
so.
do you want to give your official prediction and then you can just hop off?
Yeah. Look, this is, I don't know. I hope to see a better Australia because ultimately that just makes for better Southern Hemisphere rugby, you know. I'd love to see Australia start finding their stride so that when we travel to Australia and we play them, it brings back the nerves like it used to. So obviously I'm hoping they get better. But I still am not sure they are going to be better yet. So I'm still going to say England by about 8 to 10 points. Yeah.
That's fair.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay.
Thank
Cheers,
you, Raven,
gents.
for joining.
And everyone,
will-
I will see you guys on the next episode. Cheers.
Remember to like and subscribe, people.
That
We do
too.
appreciate all of you. Bye, everyone. Anyway, Brett, there's another game that I'm really excited for. And I think this could potentially be game of the weekend. Listen to this little banger. Italy versus Argentina.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it
I'm
all
very
depends. What?
I'm very excited for that game. I mean, like I've no like reservations on who could potentially win that game. I'm just very excited for that said game.
Yeah, because you just don't know with Argentina. They could beat the best team in the world and then absolutely lose to the most shit team in the world. Just never know. The unpredictability of this game makes it exciting. And I feel like this is going to be a high-scoring game. Like a 45-35 something. Just reeks of it, unless it's raining.
I hope so and I hope Italy come off with the win because I feel like they touching tier 2 level rugby. They are potentially they actually if in the last 10 years, about 7 of the last 10 years, they deserved to be relegated to tier 2 standards and to be kicked out of the Six Nations. Because also look in the World Cup when they lost by 90 points to the All Blacks. That's not what a tier 1 nation should be doing.
That's embarrassing, yeah.
Yes, so they definitely need this win more than ever.
Yeah, but don't you think Argentina kind of also needs this win and they need a statement victory? Like we are talking about Argentina maybe taking the next step. They need these wins and they need to make these comfortable victories in the end.
Yeah, well, Contepomi as the new coach, he actually also needs to cement himself as a world-class winning coach. So, yeah, it's actually both need it if you think about it. But I'm gonna go for an Italian win.
Home ground advantage plays a role.
That's the only thing why I'm going with an Italian win.
Makes sense. Thing is, like Italy looked so much better in the Six Nations, and then they toured and played down here, and they just shit the bed, didn't they?
Yeah,
like
and
against Samoa and Tonga and
but they didn't send any of their players. It was like a development side. So
okay, so they did a France.
They did a France. You can't look into any of that. Most of their key players, their captain was a guy I've never seen in my life. So yeah, it was. Don't look anything into that. But you do know Italy's touring South Africa next year.
Yeah. But they'll send their full strength team for that. I think it will be a great. That'll be great for their game as well. So I'm going with Argentina to get the victory. I know isn't there like a lot of Italians and Argentinians playing for each other's country as well?
Mm-hmm.
which obviously makes it very exciting.
Do we see Rhino Smith in that Italian side anytime soon?
I hope so. I hope they move a couple or so to the wing and then Rhino Smith to that fullback position. I think that would be the play. The play. He looks so good. He's literally a standout player for Benetton. Doesn't matter who they play against.
And he's a good goal kicker, and he kicks off for them. He's just a tactical, smart guy.
Yeah. I wouldn't even put it like if we had another fullback injury, I wouldn't have minded if they put Rainer Smith in the Springbok squad. Like that's how good he's been. That's really how good he's been.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but yeah.
No, well, I think he's better than who's after this? Kouanon? I think he's better than Kouanon.
I think he's better than Fussy.
Exactly. Okay, well, so then you would put him in the Springbok setup.
Only because Fussy's there.
Okay, so but let's say Damian Willems is injured. We have our three, right? Willems, Willie, and Fussy. If Willems is injured, right, and we need three fullbacks, I would have gone Rainer Smith before I put in Kouanon.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but I'm still going Argentina to get the victory. I think they need this. They need this more than, for instance, Italy. The pressure will be on. I do think it's going to be, as I said, like a 10-point game, but a high-scoring game. Sensational game of rugby. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm just hoping for some dry weather because we know it can rain out there in Italy, and that's not always a good watch then. Anyway, let's move on. Rematch of the World Cup, Wales versus Fiji. That will be the last game we talk about because we don't care about France. We will not speak their name.
Yeah, I'm going with a Welsh win by 15 to 20 points.
Yeah.
The fact that the Fijians, who's already a tier 2 nation, is not allowed to select players that don't play in Fiji, that just blows my mind. If there was a Semi Radjandra or a Umaga or those guys play, oh yeah, exactly. Then it would be a different story. Then I think it would be close, but I still would have backed a Welsh win. This just makes it a bit of a bigger win for me. I don't even think it's going to be an entertaining game. I might not even watch it.
Well, let's see. You'll definitely watch it. It's right before the Springboks game, so you'll probably watch it.
Probably.
Yeah, I agree with you. I can't see how Fiji gets close. I think it's a comfortable victory. I just think the styles at the moment with the worst Fiji team, it's contrasting styles. They play right into the Welsh hands. That will just keep this game tight. They'll have Tommy Raffel, Jack Morgan, and Aaron Wainwright will just run the game. Costello will probably just bomb it up high and whatever. That's probably going to be their game plan. It doesn't suit Fiji whatsoever. I'm going with Wales to get like a 12-point victory on this one.
I'm hoping they give that Scarlet's Fly Off a chance.
Yeah, the issues, we don't really know enough about Wales to talk about all of that and to know if their guys have been selected in the squads, right? So,
yeah.
But things have been looking up for the Welsh teams. Like I have been impressed, and I think it won't take long for the Welsh to find their feet kind of again. They won't really go back to the prestige that they once were, but I don't think they'll be as bad as they were last year. Especially with Jack Morgan coming back. Like we saw what it did to Australia with Fraser McReight just coming back. They just look like a different team. One guy can do that for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's wrap it up. You good to wrap it up? Happy.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for watching. Please do remember to like and subscribe. We do appreciate you guys. Please do remember, click the link in our bio for the SUPERBRU. Go make your predictions, battle us, tell us your rugby knowledge is better, which it probably is because we just talk shit. Thank you. Bye.
Trump for the win.